All right, welcome back everyone to another deep dive. This time, we're going even deeper into modern Indian history.
Part 2 of our Modern Indian History deep dive.
Exactly, especially for those of you prepping for the UPSC. You know how important this is for the GS1 paper.
Mhm.
But, anyone interested in this period, it's just fascinating stuff.
Oh, absolutely. And today we're tackling a pretty pivotal document.
Before we get into that, though, quick reminder to subscribe and give us a like if you're finding this useful.
Yes, please do.
Okay, so we're diving into Muhammad Iqbal's 1930 Allahabad Address today.
This is a big one, yeah.
Huge. I mean, this speech, it's considered like a cornerstone of the two-nation theory, right? An
Yeah.
idea that really, really shaped the future of the subcontinent. No small feat.
No, not at all. And to really understand the weight of this address, I think it helps to understand the man who delivered it. We're talking about Muhammad Iqbal, and he wasn't just a politician.
Right, right. He was a lot more than that.
Yeah, he was a renowned poet, a philosopher, deeply involved in the intellectual and cultural world of Islam.
So we're not talking about some like dry political document here.
Yeah.
This is coming from someone who is thinking deeply about, the identity of Muslims in a world that was changing so rapidly around them.
Exactly. And the context is crucial. This address, it was delivered in 1930 at the 25th session of the All India Muslim League. And, tensions were running high amongst India's Muslim community at the time.
Yeah, and the big question looming over everyone was, what's going to happen to us in an independent India?
A huge question.
So if we kind of zoom out a little bit, we see this address wasn't delivered in a vacuum.
Oh, no, definitely not.
India in the 1930s, it was like this boiling pot of different political ideologies, competing visions for the future. You had the Indian National Congress pushing for full independence.
Right.
And then you had the Muslim League increasingly saying, hold on, what about the rights of the Muslim minority?
And it's within that complex landscape that Iqbal steps up and offers this radical proposition.
The two-nation theory.
Exactly. He argued that Hindus and Muslims, they weren't just different communities, they were totally separate nations. Separate in their religion, their culture, their entire historical experience.
This wasn't just about, asking for a place at the existing table.
No, it was much bigger than that.
This is about demanding a whole new table altogether.
Yeah.
He even went so far as to outline the specific regions.
He did, yeah.
Punjab, the Northwest Frontier Province,
Yeah.
Sindh, Balochistan.
He saw these regions as part of this independent Muslim homeland.
And I think this is where it gets really interesting, especially for anyone studying for the UPSC.
Yeah.
Iqbal didn't just throw out these ideas. He rooted them in his interpretation of Islam.
Yeah, this wasn't just about political expediency for him.
He argued that a separate Muslim state wasn't just like a good idea. It was essential for Islamic principles and culture to truly flourish.
Exactly.
So, to fully understand the two-nation theory, we can't just look at the politics of the time.
Yeah.
We've got to understand the philosophical, the religious ideas that Iqbal was bringing in.
Absolutely. And it's also important to remember that even within the Muslim community, there were very different reactions to this two-nation theory.
Of course, yeah.
Some people embraced it fully, saw it as the way forward. Others, though, they were advocating for different paths, maybe a federal system where Muslim rights were protected within a united India.
That's a really important point to remember. It wasn't like everyone was just instantly on board with this idea. It sparked a lot of debate, even within the Muslim community itself. So it begs the question, how much did this address actually influence the direction of the whole independence movement?
A huge question.
Was it like the single catalyst for the creation of Pakistan? Or was it more like one piece in a much bigger puzzle?
It's tempting to draw a straight line from the 1930 address to the 1947 partition, but history is rarely that simple.
Right.
I mean, sure, the Allahabad Address planted a very powerful seed, that's undeniable.
Right.
But it still took years for the idea of Pakistan to gain really widespread support.
So what else was going on?
Oh, a lot. We had the roundtable conferences, the rise of Hindu nationalism, the political maneuvering of so many key leaders. All of these things played a role in shaping the final outcome.
So for our listeners, especially the UPSC folks out there, I think the key takeaway here is Iqbal's Allahabad Address. It's a primary source, a really important one. And it deserves a careful read, a careful analysis, because it gives us a window into the intellectual currents, the anxieties, the hopes that were swirling around during one of the most pivotal moments in South Asian history.
Absolutely. And it leaves us with some really thought-provoking questions that still resonate today.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, what if Iqbal had never given this address? What would the political map look like? What about the very identity of South Asia? Would the partition have even happened? Would India and Pakistan have gone down completely different paths?
I mean, you can go down a real rabbit hole with this one.
Right. These are the kinds of what-if questions that historians love to grapple with.
Yeah, they really make you think.
They remind us that history isn't just a collection of dates and names.
No, it's much more dynamic than that.
It's this incredible tapestry woven with choices, actions, and all their consequences, even the ones we can't predict.
Definitely something to think about.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll catch you in the next deep dive.
See you then.